Hey guys, this is Ashley Kang of KORIZON Esports, and I'm joined by Bwipo, the top laner of Fnatic once again, as we close off the first week of the 2021 LEC Spring Split. Hey Bwipo, thank you so much for joining us once again. How have you been? How have you found the weekend?
Not so great, to be honest. I think that the biggest problem I've had is growing into what the team needs me to be on the stage. I think I had a misconception based on our practice on what the team needed me to be, and I played pretty poorly in the first two games, and I wasn't able to be the voice that the team could have used me to be. Needed is perhaps a bit too much, but I definitely could have been more for my team, and I wasn't able to provide that. And I think today, on our last day, the third game, I was able to fulfill that much better.
Can you tell me more about how you were able to fulfill that role in Game 3? Because a lot was happening, the opponent team picked Jax, if I remember correctly. By the way, how satisfying was it when you solo killed that Jax at the top lane?
I thought I was very fortunate. I was very lucky. I made a mistake because I was looking at the team fight, getting ready for a teleport, and I didn't micromanage my champion well enough in order to stay in a safe space from him, but I was able to recover the situation. Fortunately, I was. In hindsight, I realized if I'm the one that dies there, which was pretty close, it would be really bad for the game. So I think I got pretty lucky there.
Yeah, because in overall, you've mentioned that you managed to take things around on the third game. Fnatic went 1-2 on this weekend. What do you think went better in your final games?
I think when we had opportunities, we were able to take them with confidence and immediately. I think in the other two games, we were a bit too slow on taking the opportunities that we had, and that gave the enemy team an opportunity to redirect their situation. Like, for example, the level 6 gank with TF we did in the top side was really good because they were ready to counter it. Like, they were hovering into Jax to potentially make a play on me. But because we were first with TF, he's pretty strong. He's pretty OP like that, being able to just show up in a lane. We killed the Jax and we kind of break their strong side, and we managed to get a kill top, get the Drake, and set us up in a good situation, getting Galio's flash in the 2v2. So it was just like a complete sweep of the map, and it was perfect for the state of the game.
And, Fnatic has a few different faces coming into 2021. Obviously, you guys probably have been scrimming leading up to the spring split. But how has the communication and the hierarchy of shortcalls been building with your new teammates?
I think that's the main thing I had wrong in scrims. I felt like being on the back seat and redirecting the team in small, being in the back seat in communication and redirecting small things was the way to go. But Hilly mentioned to me actually yesterday, is you're not talking as much as you used to, and I miss that. He's I feel like you in the past you would talk a lot and be much more vocal about what you wanted to do in the game, and I wasn't able to do that in the first two games, and then. This third game, I tried to do my best to call when I felt like there was a really good play, and I think us as a team, we were able to follow up and win on the early game because of that.
Yeah, I do want to touch base on that a little bit more, but going back to your teammates, how has the dynamics changed now that Nisqy has moved into Fnatic? Because when I think of Nemesis and when I think of Nisqy, they are obviously two very different players. Stylistically, Nemesis was more about pressurizing the lane and wanting to carry the late game, but Nisqy, he likes to compare himself to Doinb. He seems to be all about activating his jungler. So how has that changed the entire dynamics within Fnatic?
A lot, and it's funny because when we play these champions that can roam a lot, I know that Nisqy always tries to go top side, and then he's like, I can look top here, and then our bot lane upside, and he'll be like, please go bot, please go bot, please over bot, don't go top, we want the pressure, and it's pretty funny. But all things considered, I think the communication has been like you expected. Like, Nisqy's trying to look for plays when he has timings, but it's not like Nemesis wasn't doing that, right? So honestly, the contrast difference is not as big. It's mostly the timings that he does have to make plays are different because he tends to play champions that are stronger early. Though we haven't actually done that this week in the LEC. I believe he played Victor TF, and then I think a Galio game. And in all those games, except for the TF last one we had, there weren't that many opportunities, unfortunately. So all things considered, it hasn't been much different. But in terms of communication, I think it's very similar. I think when you're at this level of play, the communication that goes between players is consistent across teams as well as players, right? Like, you talk about when you have a timing to make a play, and when you can, take an objective or something, and that hasn't changed.
Okay, because I was also going to ask about Upset moving into Rekkles' role. I think of Rekkles and Upset, and I think both players had the least amount of deaths throughout, 2020. They're both very, very consistent, damage dealing AD carries. But have you noticed any difference in the dynamics with the bot lane now that a different AD carry is moving into the team?
I think Rekkles was at his peak strength when he was Rekkles. For me, what impressed me the most about Rekkles, of all time, is how little he asked from his teammates. In review, he would always find a way of how he can solve the situation rather than asking for the jungler to help him, right? And I think that this is the biggest difference between Upset and Rekkles, where Upset will, even though he does attempt to solve the situation himself, he will always also bring in jungle input and be like, hey, if you can be here, this is very good for me. Whereas Rekkles would almost always figure it out himself and still manage to be in a good position in the game. And this was the one thing that struck out to me the most playing with him, and it's something that I try really actively to mimic, but it's very hard. Because let's say he's in a bad position because he gets ganked, Rekkles won't be like, I need you here to cover or make up that difference. Rekkles will just be like, okay, this is what I can do next time to avoid getting in a bad situation in the first place. And it's very impressive. Yeah.
I was watching the LEC hype video, the opening teaser for the 2021 Spring Split, and you said something very interesting there. The Fnatic hasn't needed. Sorry if I'm not quoting your exact words, but I'm trying to.
I don't remember it exactly.
But I'm just on my memory. You said that we haven't needed Rekkles for a while, and this is the time to prove that. And there was very, very fascinating statement from me that I'll absolutely love you to elaborate.
I mean, it's like I mentioned, right? Yeah. From my experience, Rekkles is someone that was really good at being a part of the team without having to play towards him. He knew, he was he's like a master key. You can fit him in every situation and he will play it well. He will always play well. He will always be in a good situation. Yeah. And when he has to carry, he will always carry, right? But all things considered, for me at least, I don't think we Fnatic has won without relying on Rekkles in the past, and I think it's important that we as a team prove that we never relied on him to carry. He was obviously a huge asset to the team, and that's never something I'll ever take away from him because, well, he was the face of Fnatic, right? He's a huge asset to the team.
Okay,
That doesn't mean we needed him to win. It's just, it was a luxury. And that's the way I want people to look at it. Having Rekkles on our team was a luxury, and the fact that he's no longer here doesn't mean that we can't be a competitive team.
And you mentioned that, Fnatic managed to step up in the third game. What does Fnatic need to do from here in order to continue proving that, Fnatic doesn't need Rekkles to win and become a LEC contesting solid team on its own from this week to next week for the rest of the Spring Split?
I think Upset and Hilly are doing a really good job at filling the shoes of Rekkles. I think they're doing a really good job being a very strong bot lane. But I think ultimately, the advantage or the push we're going to need to be that team is going to have to come from me. I think I'm going to have to step up and return to the top laner that people considered me to be in the past, the top 3 perhaps when Alfire was still in the league. I think I need to regain that form and prove to people that the only person that can contest me is Wunder.
And also,
it'll be hard to beat him. He's pretty good, but it'll be hard to beat Wunder. But I need to at least get back to the point where it's me and him against the rest.
Hey, Wunder might pull out his top lane Ivan again.
I mean, last time I lost to Janna, so it's not looking something.
Oh my god, that's much. And everyone already seemed to be pinning down the 2021 Spring Split champion, and that seems to be due to esports. Is this too early to say this? Can Fnatic or any other team in LEC truly challenge this? Because everyone is saying that G2, I don't know how many times we said this, oh my god, G2 looks like the strongest team that Europe has produced. But, what is your opinion on this?
Yeah. It's like I said, my opinion is very simple. I think if I can be a top laner that can contest Wunder, I think Fnatic will be able to contest, because I'm very confident in Hilly and Upset to manage the 2v2 against Rekkles and Nikki. They're a very good bot lane, but so is ours. And I always have faith in shaking things up mid jungle with Niski and Selfmade. Like we're not like, especially with our mid jungle, we're not scared of contesting, and I think that that's going to help us against G2 because if they get complacent, perhaps we can take a swing there. And as long as I can hold the fort top and maybe get ahead, I think we'll be in a good spot.
Maybe it's time for Bwipo to become the face of Fnatic.
Maybe I wouldn't go that far, but I think I need to channel some Korean top laner energy. Some Deshai, some Nuguri.
They're in the LPL. They're in the LPL.
Sure, but they're still Korean. Like for me, I still register them as Korean top laners. I mean, they do play in the LPL and represent the LPL, but still, it's not to say anything bad about LPL top laners. They're very good too. I wouldn't mind channeling some Zoom or 369. I'm very happy with that too.
Yeah.
Perhaps Bin Jax. I mean, I'd like to play some Bin GP against G2. I think they have some very bad memories of that. So if I can channel a combination of these energies to contest G2, I think Fnatic can contest G2. Yeah.
Oh my god! You just mentioned the three veins of G2: the Shy, Bin, and the Nuguri.
But they're all top laners. So like my logic of being like having a really strong top laner being the bane of G2, I actually think there's logic there. It's there for a reason, and I think it's important that I can be that person for my team.
And we'll certainly look forward to that. Thank you so much for this insight and interview, Bwipo. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say? Any words to the fans?
Just a big thank you for supporting us. I mean, honestly, like people were very supportive and understanding of the fact that we went 0-2. I mean, you're a big team like Fnatic, you go 0-2. Usually, you get a lot of hate for that. But this time around, I haven't really noticed much. Like most people are very supportive and understanding, and it's very, very reassuring to see. So, just a big thank you to everyone.
Okay, thank you so much, and I'll see you next time, Bwipo. Appreciate it.